Hey, welcome. It is the #1 news show on YouTube about cannabis law and policy. It's Cannabis Legalization News. My name's Tom. You can find me over at cannabisindustrylawyer.com. We got a big week of news to report. Our lead story is going to be going over another cookies lawsuit. If you have a copy of it, please let us know because we just had the newspaper report, but not the actual lawsuit. And then we have more cannabis news. We have some veteran news, some DEA news, some Arizona news and states, Kentucky, Arizona, Germany. We have some international news. We also have an interesting name that strain because right now Miggy is in Mexico. And so let's start the show and get going on this episode of Cannabis Legalization News. What's up, man?
Send weed. Send weed.
Why do you need weed?
Because this vaping cutting it.
Yeah, because you're in.
I'm in Mexico. I'm in Cabo.
Yeah, Cabo. Yeah, you see now you can kind of see the screen behind him. It's ocean view, huh?
It's beautiful out there. You got wells and this is why growing up in Southern California, I'm not an engineer. I never got shit done because you just live by the day. You know? And if I had good weed, I would never have to leave. But there's no good weed out here I know of. So
that's too bad. That's too bad. Hey, our big story of the day, our trending story is cookies sued again by a retail partner in a $100 million case. This is out of the MJ Biz website, MJ Biz Daily.
Yeah. Did you read it?
I didn't get to find a copy of the lawsuit. Like this all interlinks to other MJ Biz articles that they've previously written, but whatever. And so it's in a widening legal dispute with a partner in dozens of his adult use marijuana stores. And so Cookies Retail LLC alleged in a lawsuit filed in California, Superior Court in Orange County. That's probably why I can't find it because I got paid logins, but I don't have logins for California. Not less than $100 million. Breached franchise law, made misrepresentations, and caused not less than $100 million in damages. And then they have named a lot of people as plaintiffs in there. As defendants. There's Cookies Creative Consulting and Promotions, LLC and Inc. And then not only that, Cookies SF, Cookies Creative PT, Cookies Creative Productions and Consulting Inc., Bigger Biz, Lemonade, Mesh Brands, and 1212 Ventures, all named as defendants, including Gilbert and Matt Barron, Parker Burling, and Ian Habenicht, and breeder Lesage Personet Chang, who's credited with the genetics that Cookies sells online.
Huh. I mean, this is a fun read just because, I mean, you kind of learn like Cookies is it's like suing Walmart, right? Now you got this big corporation and all these like franchisees, for lack of a better word. And also, this is something that we're going to have to experience together, right? Like when we get our license one day, hopefully.
One day. Yeah. It's only been 7.5 months.
Oh, it's been a year exactly, plus since we applied.
Since we applied in a year, yeah.
So I mean, but and again, right? This is my fear, and we'll talk about it more in another story as well. But like, we're gonna have to have. I mean, unless we can raise $500,000 and buy the property and do all the build up ourselves, which is possible. But if we want to like get in business with Cookies or whoever other MSO type person, because they already have the infrastructure, right? And so this was funny because this guy is suing Cookies, saying you're not as profitable as you say you are, because they were supposed to give him $100 million, I believe.
They're saying that they've been damaged for $100 million, and they've invested over $100 million in there. So Johnson's Cookies Retail, and he's also the co-founder and CEO of TRP. And so that TRP is kind of like one of Cookies' parent companies. We'd almost need flowcharts to understand the organization that is Cookies. It's that big of a behemoth level contracts and companies that they have. However, they in January 12th, they filed that suit, and they said they were signing a licensing agreement with Berners Businesses on January 2020 that allowed Johnson and his companies to open Cookies branded stores in Cali, Colorado, Florida, Massachusetts, Oklahoma, and Oregon. And to do so, Johnson invested over $100 million. But since that time, they've discovered allegedly countless lies and blatant misrepresentations made by defendants about their business, including the profitability of cookie stores, the cost to open each store, and defendants' illegal self-dealing.
Well, and I like to put it out there. If Johnson wants to like still, be another investor, we're putting it out there. We're looking. So let's talk.
Right. There you go. Well,
we won't cost you $100 million.
Oh, no, substantially less than that. But then they invested in 33 cookies branded stores, and they've opened them across the country. Yeah, and they also made some other representations that they said this violates state and federal franchise laws and fraudulent misrepresentation. So they try to avoid franchise laws for whatever reason. But franchise laws are interesting. I'm not sure if you've ever seen like a FDD, franchise disclosure document. There's federal statutes on it and what needs to go into a franchise agreement, or those disclosure documents. And I think that's why they're making the allegation. I haven't gotten a chance to read the whole case or even like the complaint, but you see lawsuits all the time with businesses because people don't get paid how they thought they were going to get paid, all that stuff. But that's a big story.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but then we have the Cannabis Freedom Party story.
Out of Yahoo Finance, the Cannabis Freedom Party, and this was reported out of PR Newswire on February 20th. The Cannabis Freedom Party, the leading political action committee dedicated to cannabis reform, expressed profound disappointment in Vice President Kamala Harris's recent campaign video that showed the wrong states. And she also they released something from the social media platform X saying that they changed federal marijuana policy because nobody should go to jail for smoking weed. And that was a blatant and staggering falsehood, according to the press release issued by the Cannabis Freedom Party.
I believe Tyson's part of this. I think he sent a letter as well, part of that, encouraging Biden to.
Well, they say the co-founder is Jim McMahon, the one that helped the Bears win the Super Bowl like 4 years ago.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I've seen a lot of him in the news. But I just didn't really pay much mind to the next NFL player again in cannabis.
Mm-hmm. Well, the CFP is urging Biden to prioritize cannabis reform by supporting legislative efforts aimed to reschedule marijuana at the federal level, going beyond the handful of expungements of past cannabis convictions that he's so far issued. I'm just waiting for that rule. I got a video in the works. I got the script done, so that is going to be coming out here soon. And thanks, guys. If you are tuning in for the podcast the first time, welcome. We've gotten a lot of subscribers over the past month. We passed 55,000. Hope you're one of them. So do subscribe to the podcast and then like this video so that you'll see our other ones. I just did one on cannabis seeds. Really didn't blow up how we thought, but then it was flagged 18 plus. So we had to re-upload it and not be as hooky on our titles for what it's about. But that'll happen.
I mean, we tried. But it's hard to say like what is and what isn't with weed whenever we talk about it, because we've been getting shadow banned and demonetized and flagged for the past 10 years plus. So, I don't think. But hit that like, hit that subscribe, because we'll be here for you to talk about the news and what's going on in the culture. That's what we do.
It's what we do, man. All right, moving on to the next story. We have the first DEA-sanctioned cannabis import from Jamaica. So there we go. International importing of cannabis. The United States has received a shipment of cannabis from Jamaica. Canadian Jamaican company comprised of former vets of Steep Hill Labs and Canopy Growth have shipped what they claim is the first DEA-sanctioned export of cannabis products from Jamaica to the United States. The Toronto-based Pure Jamaican brand and its cultivation and manufacturing arm in Montego Bay, Jamaica, 710 Pharmaceuticals, exported 8 different tincture products and 3 different distillate products with various ratios of THC and CBD.
What a roundabout way to become a legal drug dealer in America, right? Like they started because this is what is this product? Is it like a CBD or
They said the products were shipped to a DEA licensed facility, ACS Laboratory in Sun City, and the testing facility has contentious history with Florida regulators. So they shipped it for testing purposes, not for commercial purposes.
Still, I mean, it's a product. It's something that's being sold and recognized, right? Like you talk about those loopholes, like the little like when you make a credit card purchase, right? Like the little check mark. So this has got to be somewhere now another step towards processing, right? Towards actually, having ways for like besides just for government testing, right? There's got to be other ways to make a purchase to do this thing within other countries.
We'll see.
Yeah,
All that stuff's getting hashed out. But in the past, researchers were only given two options to obtain research cannabis from the University of Mississippi or to get a DEA permit to import it from foreign companies such as Tilray in Canada. Interesting.
Yeah. We got veterans pushing for the cannabis reclassification.
We sure do. This is out of the Dales Report. Dales Report published veteran groups push for cannabis reclassification. Veteran groups are calling for cannabis to be moved from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, like everybody else is. Let's go, Biden. Come on. And it would widen treatment option for veterans, and a DEA decision on cannabis could significantly impact veteran care. So it's still Schedule 1 until after they publish that rule and move it to Schedule 3.
I saw Shalene Tile posted this morning about rescheduling. Again, this is that big reschedule, deschedule, right? Ideally, we want deschedule, but give us what we can right now. Home grow would be ideal, but like she argued that rescheduling it would give pharmaceutical people who already know like the processes and the power, their law enforcement. But my argument is against two. It's against people who are trying to go into business, right? That's no matter what, you got to follow rules. I think rescheduling though would empower the end consumer, the citizen, for like home grows and things like that. I mean, for this plant, I would hope.
Yeah, you would hope it. So, and we'll see. But we have some organizations of Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, AMVETS, the GI Forum, American Legion, Blind Veterans Association, Minority Veterans of America. All of them joined in on this call for rescheduling, and they emphasize the need to access a broader array of treatments to address both physical and mental health challenges faced by veterans returning from service.
I mean, legalization is a wellness issue.
It is. The American Legion did a poll as part of this statement they've issued, and they found that 82% of respondents support the option of medical cannabis as a federally legal treatment. And also that is a little bit more than the most recent Gallup poll from last year that showed 70% of Americans favor outright adult use legalization.
What? And then the VA, unfortunately, flops every year, depending on who administration is in charge, right? So it'd be nice if they can still reinforce this and help.
Yeah. Help is always good. How long do you think before the Schedule 3 rule is going to drop? Because I really don't know. And it's February's almost over. So I'm hopeful that it's really, next week would be great.
Right. Or our license. What's going to happen first? Our license or rescheduling?
I don't know what's going to happen first, license or rescheduling. Ideally it's our license first, because rescheduling is a process where they publish the rule and then they have the public comments and then they have the final rule published and then it becomes enforceable. That could take until early next year. But hopefully it's before the end of this year. I don't know. And then when will we get this license? I don't think it's going to be this month unless it's Thursday, leap day. Maybe then. Typically they do the issues on Thursday in the afternoon. And they didn't happen this time. So I was just sitting around on the 22nd. It's like, oh, okay, it's 3:15. They aren't going to announce it. Damn it.
No, I feel that. There's always like what is it? Whenever they drop, what do you call it? Like a Friday drop? When people drop like lawsuits or releases or whatever the case is.
Oh yeah, but the regulators aren't like that. The regulators would do it on a Thursday and take Friday off.
Well, that's what I mean. You already know the schedule or how the these type of people act, right? Their processes, because everything's a process, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. It's like we got this process going on. we're getting ready for Missouri. I mean, we're talking about veterans. Did you know that disabled veterans count as social equity in Missouri? If anybody's a disabled veteran tuning in, leave it in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah.
Because you're eligible to win a cannabis license in the state of Missouri coming up this summer. Might as well play.
Yeah. And actually outreach to Tom if you're in that category, if you qualify, because I mean Tom's organizing a team, and we're a prime example, right? Because we're gonna now get to the next level. Right? We won the license, yay! Now the next level is gonna be the business side, and you need a good partner, right? You need someone you can trust, because
need a team. I mean, but yeah, you need people that you trust with the money, which is really difficult because greed screws with people's head.
Well, power. I mean, too. I mean, because the greed, the money that comes in with these kind of things, sometimes with a good business that is flowing, it's not going to be like some of these like businesses that talk a lot that they're flush with cash, but then you find out like in these cookies lawsuits, like they weren't doing so great, or like MedMen, like how many, they shit the bed. So
well, we could talk about what happened with MedMen, but first, if you're watching this at home, great. You can see the beautiful thing that Miggy's sitting in front of, and he's decided to take an hour out of his vacation to talk to you, our audience. So, thank you so much for
thanks for joining us.
It's just so pretty out there, I tell you.
Well, in doing this thing with you, I think we help move the conversation forward, like we've been doing. We're not trying to be pop celebrities, but it's just a matter of like as people. As citizens, we are empowered the more we know, right?
Right. And so, yeah, we're trying to make the people that tune in and watch should know more about cannabis legalization than 99% of Americans, and then share that knowledge with other people, because this thing's taken effing forever. It's been
ever.
Yeah. I mean, it's been, let's see, 37, 24. What is that? 86 years, 87 years. And so that's the first one, and the second one 54 years. But boy,
and then even what we have, the game's not fair, right? For like, I always talk about how like when I was younger, when I was a former barter of weed, I trade it for paper, but like you're thinking like, oh man, if this is legal, I can make a business, I could do a thing. I never thought I could be a grower. I always just thought it's just like a sales type thing, and to legally get to that point, it's so much just back regulation. And then even to be the business where you become the Walmart or whatever that people dream to be, it's still a lot, right? Because you're trying to do your own empire. I like being a technician, dude. I'm a worker bee, baby. I just want to be the guy putting little widgets and screwing things together. But I'd also like to own the company if I can.
Well, you get equity, and then it's now just how much, and then because there's reasons why we might want to keep it at 51%, because there's bills in Illinois, one of which would allow us to sell medical, and so like we could get the similar, like we could make really attractive offers to potential investors or operational partners, in the future after we get the license, all that stuff, but. We have to get there first, and so if we're able to access the loans, because then they've got another bill out there that says they're going to try to have the social equity conditional licenses that we've won be able to access loans, because then it becomes a lot easier if you can have your operating capital taken care of, and then you have somebody who builds out your real estate, and that you have a real estate partner. But real estate is an asset, and so it's one of those deals where it's easier to get open.
Yeah, but real estate, but also the structure. Here we go, baby.
Oh, hey, it's 20 past the hour already, which means that literally somewhere on the planet it is 4:20 somewhere. Yes. One of the things that I want to talk about, and shout out to Collateral Base for finally signing for somebody to help us brand that. I've had this company for 4 years, done no work on its branding or marketing. I've just sunk everything into like the cannabis brand. And I think we're kind of hitting a wall there because you can't buy ads for it. you get shadow banned. Like, for example, on our Instagram, I don't think our Instagram's ever going to get over 4,900 just because it's like I got this governor where it just starts deleting people. But anyway, we are looking for other people similarly situated to Miggy. And to do that, we've started a website called socialequityincubator.com. And the point of this is to find people, and for example, disabled veterans, or if you have a qualifying cannabis arrest like Miggy does. Of course, Miggy's also a veteran, but are you a disabled veteran, Miggy?
I am not, but my brother is.
Well, there you go. Your brother is also eligible to win a dispensary license in the great state of Missouri. We're looking for people that are qualified so that we can help them get into the industry and have a fair shot at making some of that cash.
And again, you're looking for a fair partner, someone that's not gonna, as we're gonna talk about later. There's a lot of vultures out there trying to hurt people. And again, that's I don't have $500,000 in my pocket, so we're gonna have to go in bed with somebody and work with them, and hopefully have a good partner. And that's gonna be the next level of this game, right? Because starting a business. So
that still counts. Expunged arrests still count. And so if it's a low level offense, that qualifies you. And then that's 50% of it. Then we can do some additional due diligence to see if you're social equity in Illinois. But our story that we have now is about social equity in Arizona. So we have some Arizona news. Not sure if anybody from AZ is in the house. Hopefully I'll be able to go out to one of Mita's parties fairly soon. They are the last Wednesday of the month. Shout out to Dimitri and all the Mita people in Arizona. But the lawmakers there are introducing an interstate commerce bill. And so this would improve interstate commerce for marijuana. It's House Bill 2770, which would allow marijuana products to be sold across state lines. Fascinating, Fascinating.
I wonder, so are they connected to Vegas or Nevada? I'm trying to think.
I think so.
Because Arizona's weed, I don't think they'll sell in California. I'm just trying to think where they export to, where that desired market's at. But is this also the social equity lawsuit that we're going to talk about, the bill, or no?
Oh, I thought that was one of them, but I can pull that one up because we had additional we're not in New York, Arizona news. So we can talk about this one. This is a new bill that is in Arizona as well. They are trying to reclaim social equity licenses from investors and corporate marijuana dispensaries. So Arizona lawmakers are pushing Senate Bill 1262 to restore power to those states' social equity program who have been either forced out or have sold. And they have some allegations regarding purported predatory tactics to seize control of nearly all the lucrative licenses. Right now, they say 24 of the 26 social equity licenses are now fully controlled by companies or people who do not belong in these special groups to get the license.
Arizona is a prime example of the law itself, how it enabled this bad behavior, right? We've got a comment here from Robin talking about if they ever allow just a regular, Joe Jane to apply, your common citizen, then they'll be qualified because they have been arrested, they were in the military. Whereas Arizona, wasn't it like a $500,000 entry fee? Like right away, that's your fucking barrier.
Well, they're a vertical state. And so it is a hyper limited vertical state. And so there's 26 new verticals that they had to create. So you have to have the grow, the process, the retail. So of course, they need all 26 of them would need investors.
But I thought there was also like a requirement of having something in your bank account, like a certain amount. I mean, I don't know if it was the social equity round, but
well, I can't remember the social equity round. It's been 3 years ago, but they had to be pre-qualified and take classes and be certified by the state as social equity before, and it was a lottery. And so then I don't know how much the lottery play, but if you win, it's millions and millions of dollars to become operational.
Well, it provided you had a good partner, right? Like how these people in that article, some of them got screwed just for getting bought out, being forced to buy out. Because you're talking now going to give the ownership back to these people.
Yep. And so they say The story of Denzel Mason, a South Phoenix resident recruited by cannabis powerhouse Copper State Farms to apply. And Copper State has one of the largest indoor grow facilities in the country and 9 Soulflower branded dispensaries throughout Arizona. So they found Mason and other partners dubbed Your Bright Horizon. So they created a program called Your Bright Horizon and submitted 106 applications alongside its social equity counterparts. The state received more than 1,300 applications for those 26 licenses back in April of 22. And Copper State and its partners, the 106 applicants, secured 3 licenses, including the one it applied for with Mason, who worked with the cannabis industry for years and intended to open his own dispensary. However, Copper State claims Mason jointly owned Your Bright Horizon, owed the company up to $3 million. About $800,000 would have been partially reimbursed from Copper State for what it allegedly spent to participate in the social equity program, including all the community outreach used to recruit Mason and others.
That's crazy. And then also in that story, they're talking about how one of these people have a company. This is where the scary part of the money involved. They have a firm that's based out of Wyoming, even though the person's based out of California. The Wyoming's where a lot of your hiding money goes, right? Your LLCs because they don't have to disclose anything. But
well, let's get Miggy back on the screen on there. And so you see a lot of Wyoming LLCs because they have less disclosure, also no tax in that state. Another place you see a lot of corporations is Delaware. So we have a story from Delaware. Delaware has released draft rules, not very many of them, but they have released some draft rules. There's only like 13 pages. They have the Office of the Marijuana Commissioner in Delaware. That will be the regulator.
Interesting. I mean, so what's your deadline for the overall? At least they're working on it.
Yeah, you have a public comment period going in there right now. So you can leave public comments in Delaware until March 29th. And the draft regulations, do we have a copy of the draft regulations? I do not. Oh, there's some. There we go. Like I said, 16 pages of regulations. They ain't done. Yeah. New Mexico's regulations are longer than 16 pages, and their regulations are pretty short. Usually regulations are like hundreds of pages, not 16.
But is that just the beginning? Is that just the governing body description, right? 16 pages of who's in charge?
Yeah, I think it's really, really early. I don't think all the regulations are out yet. I think these are just the drafts for right now. It says continue to add sections of the regulations over the next few weeks. So check back. Delaware is starting to show us what the game's going to be. We think it's going to be a lottery out in Delaware. There may be social equity in that lottery. We'll find out.
And thanks, what the Pat? New member. What?
Oh, cool.
We got a New Hampshire there.
New Hampshire. All right. Let me find that story and pull it up. New Hampshire. House passes marijuana legalization bill. Those Senate hurdles remain. I can't believe New Hampshire is that conservative that they still have not legalized it over there. It's like the only state in New England that has. House passes marijuana legalization bill. Senate hurdles remain on way to governor's desk.
You got pockets of like old families and shit in the Northeast, right? Like people who've been in charge for a long time. Keep that in our mind in this. So we can't change. There's a reason why it was illegal, right?
Supporters are hopeful that the latest measure can finally pass the opposite chamber and curry favor. That's an interesting verb there, curry. With Governor Chris Sununu, and House lawmakers have approved HB 1633 on a 239 to 141 vote, which makes me wonder what the heck. How come there's so many elected officials in this is New Hampshire. Like, why do they have so many elected officials in their house? 239 plus 141 is a ridiculous number. I mean, like that's almost like the amount of people that we have in Congress in Washington D.C. from all 50 states. That's got to be a typo. Yeah.
Well, it was just like a quarter of the population. And that's why they don't make moves, because everybody's fucking in charge. So every asshole has an opinion that counts.
Possession limits of 4 ounces. That's a sensible possession limit.
Yeah, 100%. So it's still in the way up, though. It's nothing that has completed.
Nope, it has to win in the Senate. So it made it out by a ridiculously suspect vote in the House, and now they have to go to the Senate. Where I'm not sure. Do they have like 100 senators in not New Mexico, New Hampshire's, Senate? I'm not sure.
Maybe it's just divvied up by like every mayor is a legislator. I don't know.
We got some quotes here. Here's one of the quotes. We're concerned about the people who are buying it on the black market, and they're buying a product that's contaminated by fentanyl because of poor product handling. So that's why you go to the dispensary or to 3 Shy here. They're still advertising down there for 100% legal premium THC products right to your door.
Again, safe access. This is all about safe access, whether it be the quality of the plant or the place that you go to. And if they legalize it, you know what they can do?
What's that?
They can play a little name that strain.
Oh, let's play some Name That Strain. We have a new branded version of it. Let's hit that Name That Strain. That's an interesting take on the Name That Strain. If you're enjoying that.
That was great. Will, you killed it. That was great.
Let us know what you think about that. We have a new artist that's helping us produce the show back there, and Name That Strain. Let's talk about it. This one goes all the. Oh yeah, not the one that has the Yeah, there we go. So it is. This would be like land race, I'd say.
Mexican Sativa. Word of power.
That's right. Mexican Sativa.
It's gold or even a haze.
Yeah. So you'd hear about this one. Like it's quite old, and so sometimes it'd be called gold or haze.
I didn't even see the name of it. Oh, you know what? That's what. Wait, Joshua's close.
Somebody's close.
Yeah.
Oaxaca. Very close, but then that's not the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's right. It's the Oaxacan Highland because Miggy's in Mexico and he can't have weed.
I don't know where the good weed is. I'm sure there's good weed out here, right? But I'm still a tourist. I don't know anybody. I want to know if you're in Cabo, if you speak English, send your weed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Let's give a little bit on. Let's talk about the Oaxacan Highland a little bit. And so Oaxacan Highland, old school strain, expert at hiding in plain sight, confused. They have a description of it known as Mexican Sativa. It defines that. It's evolved to look different than most weed, and it has wispy buds that give it that distinctive look once it's been cultivated and cured. It is in the Oaxacan Valley, and it is up in the heights or the highlands of the Oaxacan Valley. Landrace strain.
That looks like really good brickweed.
I bet this type of strain was a lot of brickweed because if that's 100%. Growing in Mexico, they would just let it go and then cut it down when it's ready to be packed, smash it into bricks, sprinkle some fentanyl in it.
Well, again, safe access. Some of the ways they used to transport is they would cover it in gasoline, right? They would pack the bundle, wrap it with whatever saran wrap, and then because the gasoline supposedly covers the smell from the dogs, but God forbid we don't have to smoke that kind of shit.
Well, that's too bad. And call it creeper weed. It's supposed to slowly creep up on you. That is in effect.
Well, we got here Kentucky news.
Kentucky news. Do you have that one ready to go? We're gonna hype. See, like you're on vacation, so like you're not at the studio. So yeah, I'll kind of help you out there a little bit. So we have the Kentucky Cannabis Conference that's coming up. I'm not going to be able to make it. They asked if I was going to be able to make it, and I said, "Oh, I'm going on spring break. I'm sorry." So the Kentucky Cannabis Conference and Lobby Day is presented by Kentucky Normal. Go to that if you are in Kentucky. They have a medical program starting pretty much this year. It's getting the rules together. The rules have been published. Public comment period's happening. There you go. Ryan's in Kentucky. This is going to be in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And if you want more info, I will just drop this in the live chat. And
I'd love to go to Kentucky. I would love to check out their fucking hemp farm.
Yeah.
You know, that they're really big on the verge there.
Well, I mean, it's great that they're having this, and so this is part of the process. This is the rules aren't finalized yet; they're in the drafts, and so they can interact with the legislature, and then hopefully also the administrative, by creating and leaving public comments. But it is going to be a highly regulated medical program, which means like great capital requirements, and it's going to be expensive. It'll be cheaper than Illinois maybe, but I'd have to look at like what real estate values and property costs are in Kentucky compared to Illinois.
Tom has nothing fun to say about legalization.
It's all fun. Well, hey, we're doing the right thing. It just takes time. And then is it overregulated? Yeah, it's overregulated. But the international news, not the international news, the international law and then the federal law, I think the Schedule 3 crap is going to still be like really regulated, but now you're going to have the feds hopefully setting some rules.
We got more to talk about on that one, but also right now we have a follow-up from last week's New York story. The mural that they were told, the cannabis store was told to take down from their fund police, the government agency. The neighborhood was an outrage, and they brought it back. So Biggie Smalls, Notorious B.I.G., his baby mural is back.
Yep. That was some regulatory stuff. They walked it back, and now Biggie Smalls is back in New York, which is pretty interesting that the OCM issued a statement that paved the way for the rapper and Brooklyn Natives image to be restored at the address. They were instructed to do it by the Office of Cannabis Management on the grounds that the artwork violated its policy against enticement. Because when I see a portrait of Biggie Smalls, I always want to smoke a blunt.
I mean, this is dumb as shit. Like all of a sudden, the kids, this what about the children is it's too much.
It is. It's a little too much. Why don't we move on to some shit that we weren't expecting this week? We have shit that we weren't expecting news. I'll get to that. Did you know that online searches for Delta 8 products are higher in states where cannabis is illegal? Go figure. When it's illegal, you're going to turn to an alternative. An alternative, pretty close.
Oh yeah, I mean you're going to try to find something that's. I also think when I was in the military, dude, people who were smokers, they look for other things, right? That's what that spice shit caught on, or people did harder drugs that are out of their system right away. When your pee can dictate your employment, that's fucked up, right? Not a portrait, big. It's just cover.
Album cover. Yeah, well, remember, didn't he put like his kid on one of them? So like, because
I don't know. Either way, it's back.
Whenever you see a baby, I always think, oh man, that's stressful. I need a
right. Well, I mean, actually, dude, you got a kid. You should know. Yes, it is.
Yeah, they wear you out. I tell you, I have to play a lot of hide and seek. I did not play this much hide and seek a few years ago.
Oh, what you need to go out. So, more searches though. Were weeds prohibited? People are trying to find alternatives.
They are 1.9 times higher, so just twice as likely to be looked for in states where the adult use market is illegal.
But again, we have drug ignorance that's being encouraged all the time. I can buy beer whenever I want, or depending on what state, weed. But
The manufacturers are engaged in synthesizing Delta 8 and not regulated, and that might be potentially dangerous because they are household products to facilitate this. Lab analysis of unregulated Delta 8 products have consistently found them to contain lower levels of the compound than advertised on their product labels. and some products have also been found to possess heavy metals and unlabeled cutting agents. So there you go. When you legalize it, this stuff happens.
Safe access, baby.
Safe access. Well, that's why I think regulations is coming. Regulations have to be coming for hemp simply because people are using the product like it's cannabis. And in the legal states, it's a fairly regulated thing. Like you have to get it tested. You have to have a license for it. You have to pay your taxes.
Right. But remember the conversation we had, 2 weeks ago with the lawyer, or maybe 3 weeks ago? The other lawyer who we're talking about the African market, and it's like the plant is regulated after it's grown, right? We're not pre, the farmer doesn't have to go, okay, this is going to be a t-shirt or Saturday night or ointment. It's a plant first. And then what it tests for, that's when the rules should come into play. I think.
All right. Let's go to California. And we have something out of the Beard Brothers Farms, their website. They published on February 19th. California lawyer is targeting Maryland for the latest social equity licensing lawsuit. And what is this all about?
Oh, you haven't read it?
Well, I have read some of it. I know that there is a lawsuit that's been filed challenging. There it is. It is challenging the Dormant Commerce Clause. And so that Dormant Commerce Clause lawsuit I've already read. I haven't checked in on where it's at, if there's been like a TRO entered or anything.
Yeah.
The problem with this is they made it in Maryland all but impossible to apply for their licenses unless you were a Maryland resident. And so like you qualify in Missouri, you qualify in Illinois because those states don't violate the Dormant Commerce Clause and allow for out-of-state actors to also participate, but they still have to be social equity.
Yeah.
And you didn't qualify under Maryland's definition. Maryland required residency in certain zip codes. Didn't matter if you had an arrest. If you lived there, that was what mattered, and you'd have to be able to show 5 years, and you got pre-qualified before you were even able to get into the lottery. So kind of similar to what they did in Arizona. And then if you weren't in that zip code, you could have like gone to school there. And so like that's the other. So yeah, and you could have moved. And so provided that you went to school in Maryland, but then moved, you could apply if you could prove that you went to school there for the requisite number of years. Those were the only non-Maryland residents to be eligible under their social equity criteria. So they're making the Dormant Commerce Clause argument, which has worked every time except for once in Washington State.
Well, this one's pretty much open and shut, right? I mean, just as you said, it's a requirement, but also I just think with this guy, it's not his first time in the article it says for this kind of lawsuit, but they could have renamed it this dickhead, right? Because this guy is slowing the process down for multiple states, not just, but, is it a money grab thing?
Yes. It's leverage, and it's a limited license state, and so the limited license states attract people that want to win a lottery and then have a valuable asset. Like we could try to create a deal where we're just gone from our license try to get $1 million for it, something like that,
But that's what happened to the.
Well, that's what you can do. You are free to make such a deal, but you can't sell it, and it can't be completed until after you're operational.
Well, there's timelines too, right? Because after operational, then like ownership for like another year or so.
It's every state's different, and so like in Maryland, it's 5 years and 65%. In Illinois, it's operational, and that's it. In Missouri, it's operational, and the 50% plus person must still qualify as social equity. It's one of the reasons I'm looking for so many disabled veterans. There's 5 million disabled veterans out there. Are you one of them? Do you know one of them? Put them in touch with us over at CannabisIndustryLawyer.com.
Join Tom. I mean, this is all about gamifying the system, right? I mean, we're all just trying, and if the good guys can win, because this, we talk about MSOs being creepy and evil, but there's people that are behind good, not trying to screw you or take advantage of you right away. They want to, it's a business, right? You're going to be negative for a little bit. Hopefully they have patience and belief, the same one that you do, because none of this is going to be an overnight success, right? Like as soon as we got the license, we won the license rather. We haven't got nothing. We won 7 months ago, and fingers crossed, these guys will figure it out. Because aren't you guys coming up on another type of round too? I heard another. Speaking of,
yeah, in Illinois, there's rounds, and so like Illinois is only about 50% done. I mean, if you include our 55 licenses that have already been like awarded or like won, there's still like another 250 licenses to go before Illinois final like fully built out. It would be 610 dispensaries, 110 from earlier the medical rounds, and then 500 social. Well, so far they're all social equity ones issued by after legalization, but that could take years, because if they do 50 next year, 50 this year, but then there's a deadline coming up in July to be operational, and about 75% of them aren't, for whatever stretch of the imagination, like they couldn't make a deal. They were too greedy on the sales price. All sorts of stuff could be the reason why they're not operational yet.
Well, Cole, I don't know if you Illinois. Cole's been talking about 2 recent social equity businesses that closed doors, right?
That's yes, but those social equity businesses are infusers, and then the hemp industry has completely made that license worthless. Like there's no reason to build out that. The only people that you'd be able to sell to are the people that are going to the dispensary, as opposed to like we can just start Googling hemp products right now and have them delivered to me. So like I don't understand anybody who would like want to get into an infused license, because if you want to make a beverage, if you want like ice cream, for example, you can't do ice cream unless it's hemp because of the way the rules work. And then beverages, same thing. Beverages cost a lot of money. Wouldn't you rather just be selling that and trying to get them into liquor stores and calling them hemp and getting it distributed, as opposed to playing by all those rules and having all that compliance cost and having a limited customer base? And so like that's really why those licenses are kind of destined to fail right now.
But isn't it also too about your business? Like Washington State, there's no, I don't think, strong hemp business per se, right? Everything, if people want product, drinks, infused, whatever, they want weed products. They don't want, because we almost got infused Delta 9 products or converted from Delta 8 into the market that they sued for and stopped, and now it's part of the regulation. But this is also goes to prove, so like hemp itself too can be international, right? Like hemp is an international product. So like now we have this Germany,
yeah,
where
we got a little bit of international news. Let's cover that. Germany did it. They legalized it. Yeah. Quasi, of course. You always have to walk it back, don't you, Germany? So it's quasi legalized, medical boost expected, and then updated with a vote tally. All right. The law approved in the Bundestag. I am not pronouncing that one right. I'm not. I'm trying, but I'm not. 400. You have to shout it. That's it. Right. Bundestag. Yeah, 407 to 226. Decriminalized cannabis, allows for home grow, lays legal groundwork for so-called cannabis cultivation social clubs, nonprofit organizations where members can acquire marijuana for recreational use. So interesting. They're kind of going the nonprofit model, and interesting.
Now, big question with you, because you're the lawyer, constitutionalist. That article that Danielle brought up, and I saw it in the comments before as we talked about other countries legalizing per se, is don't they violate that UN agreement that we have? Like, won't this put a little kink in the argument?
I think this is one of the reasons why it's not quite fully legal. And so exactly. So there's a couple of parts in the article that we can go over. So, they call it quasi legalization. And so a German attorney, not going to try to pronounce that name, specializing in criminal law, said possession of cannabis will still remain illegal with just a couple of exceptions. possession of up to 25 grams in public and 50 grams at home, private cultivation of up to 3 plants at home, which must be really shitty yielders, by the way, if they're only getting that much.
Yeah.
Just throw it away after you harvest it. Just throw it away. Adults will be allowed to grow cannabis in social clubs together. And then members will be entitled to up to 50 grams per month from the cannabis clubs. So it really isn't completely legal, and it's not so uncontrolled. I mean, what we would have to do then is like look at the international law about how they're supposed to regulate it, and then see if they're complying with it or if they're just outright out of it. The problem with the problem with America trying this is we stupidly put in our law to comply with international law. So if we really wanted to legalize it, we would just delete part of the Controlled Substances Act and be like, there we go. Hey, but you said you'd sign the treaty and we'd do that. Yeah, that was 1961 us.
But I mean, like, if this is if they make the efforts to do it nationally, and again, what about Canada? What's the, how come they're not breaking the rules or violating conditions?
Did they sign that single convention back in 1961? I don't know if Canada signed on. I'm assuming Germany did, but I'd have to check.
I would assume Canada did too, but in this argument about doctrine that no one really knows about.
There it is.
Really?
Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah. I read the single convention all the time, mostly because I'm kind of a nerd, and now I need crap. It's loading the wrong thing. I hate when that does it. It's loading on Adobe as opposed to coming up in Google. I should reset my defaults. There it is. There's this, and open with Google Chrome, and there it is. And of course, it's not in the one I'm sharing. Okay, the single convention. Here, guys, I'm going to. Oh, I'm not. This is a download. I can't share this with the audience. But that's it. It's not very long. It's only 44 pages. Let's see here. Do we have Canada on this? ABC Canada, right there. There you go. So Canada is openly violating it. Where's Germany? Back in 1961, though, it was a little bit different for Germany, wasn't it? It wasn't quite how it is now. Do we have West Germany? No.
What about Argentina?
The USSR signed it.
Oh, wow.
I don't see Germany, though. Poland, Guatemala, Greece, Dahomey. Don't forget Dahomey. Dahomey. Czechoslovakia, not a country anymore. It is kind of funny, like watching this type of stuff. Paraguay. Well, of course. There's Paraguay. Oh, there's Germany. Federal Republic of. So I'm not sure if that was West Germany or East Germany.
So no longer legally binding? Is that what we're going with? I mean, it's like Istanbul used to be Constantinople.
Perhaps. But then there's ways, there are exceptions to like how you can kind of have cannabis be quasi-legal, provided that it's still regulated and it's not, and it's for medical use. If it's for medical or research use, and like what Germany's doing, it doesn't seem like it's just strictly for money that Canada does. So maybe violating international law. The problem with America is that we wouldn't just be violating international law, we'd also be violating our own law, which we usually comply with. And so that's why we would need to amend the Controlled Substances Act so that we could also, like these other states, be like, nah, that was 1961.
Well, so the workaround right now still is to deschedule. So once it becomes descheduled, then we could even perhaps have that the intercommerce, like with other nations, like hemp, right? Because if we do the policy where we legislate the plant after it's harvest, opposed to like before it's grown, right? Like you're a psychic farmer. There's so many magical psychic farmers out there now. So
magic farmers. There's more magic farmers coming soon. I was reading a bill about they're legalizing or thinking about legalizing mushrooms in Illinois. So that's going to happen. And a lot of states are going to legalize mushrooms. And then I don't know what's left after that.
Acid. But I mean, as far as like holistic options go, mushrooms are definitely, mushrooms are like cannabis when it comes to strain, right? There's only like the one or two that are actually scheduled. And then the rest are like still make you happy fun time sometimes, but or kill you. One of the two.
Or kill you. I tell you, we've done it again. We spent a whole hour together talking about all the cannabis news that was in the past week. We have a leap year this year. And so Thursday, that's usually not there in any given year, but we get it this year. Not sure what you're going to do for leap day.
I'll be here. I can leave in the day of, so maybe I'll travel back in time. I'm only an hour different. Yeah, so take it.
Travel back in time. Awesome. Well, that's our show. Thank you so much, everybody. And of course, if you are a member, we put you in the outro. So we're going to hit that outro and we will see you next week.